Are you tired of those sad stringy tomato seedlings? You know the ones. They look like they'll snap if you just breathe on them too hard. You spend weeks babying them, only to have them struggle after you transplant them. What if I told you there's a simple, proven method to bypass all that stress and grow tomato plants with roots so powerful they look like they've been hitting the gym? Seriously, we're talking about a foundation that sets them up for an incredible season of growth and production. Stay tuned, because today I'm sharing my foolproof technique for sowing tomatoes directly into cups. This one change will guarantee a root system that will absolutely blow your mind and change the way you start seeds forever. You won't want to miss this. Before we grab our soil and seeds, let's talk about why this is so important. The root system is the engine of your tomato plant. It's not just an anchor. It's the entire support system responsible for pulling up water and all the vital nutrients from the soil. A weak, underdeveloped root system means a weak, unproductive plant. It's that simple. The traditional method involves starting dozens of seeds in a shallow tray, and then, once they sprout, carefully separating and moving them to a new pot. This process, called pricking out, is incredibly stressful for the tiny seedling. It almost always damages the delicate root hairs, leading to something gardeners dread: transplant shock. The plant stalls, it wilts, and it has to spend precious energy repairing its roots instead of growing bigger and stronger. Our method today completely eliminates that step. By starting the seed in its first real home, we allow the roots to grow undisturbed, creating a dense, powerful, and shock-proof foundation from day one. First things first, let's talk about choosing the right cups. This is more important than you might think. You want a cup that's at least 3 to 4 inches deep and about 3 inches wide. A standard 16-ounce plastic party cup is actually perfect for this. Why this size? It gives the main taproot plenty of room to grow straight down without getting restricted early on. A deeper pot encourages a deeper root system, which is exactly what we want. Avoid using tiny seed starting cells or small peat pots for this method. They're just too shallow, and the plant will become root-bound very quickly, defeating the whole purpose of giving it a stress-free start. You can also use biodegradable pots, but be aware they can sometimes wick moisture away from the soil too quickly. For consistency and control, a simple cheap plastic cup is my go-to choice every single time. It's a reliable vessel for creating our root powerhouse. Now here is arguably the most critical step in the entire process, and it's one that many people get wrong: drainage. I cannot stress this enough. Your cups must have drainage holes. Without them, water will pool at the bottom, the soil will become a soggy mess, and the roots will literally drown and rot from lack of oxygen. It's the fastest way to kill your precious seedlings. So, before you do anything else, grab a drill, a soldering iron, or even just a sharp pair of scissors, and make some holes. I like to make 3 or 4 generous holes in the bottom of each plastic cup. Don't just poke one tiny pinhole. You want to ensure that any excess water has an easy escape route. This allows you to water thoroughly without fear of creating a swamp. Remember, we want our soil to be consistently moist, not waterlogged. Proper drainage is the foundation of a healthy root environment and is absolutely non-negotiable for success. Let's talk about what we're going to fill these cups with. You could go out and buy a bag of seed starting mix, but I found that creating my own simple blend gives me far better results. It's all about achieving the perfect balance of moisture retention, aeration, and gentle nutrition. My secret recipe is incredibly simple. I use about 60% high-quality potting mix as a base. Then, I add about 30% rich finished compost. This compost provides a slow release of essential nutrients that the seedling will need once it develops its first true leaves. Finally, I add about 10% perlite or vermiculite. Both of these are fantastic for creating air pockets in the soil, which prevents compaction and allows the roots to breathe and grow freely. This mix is light, fluffy, and has everything a young tomato plant needs to thrive without being overwhelmed by harsh chemical fertilizers. It's the perfect 5-star hotel for our seeds. So, why go to the trouble of mixing your own soil? Why not just use that bag from the big box store? Well, many commercial seed starting mixes can be a bit of a gamble. Some of them are almost entirely peat moss or coir, which can become very dense and hard for delicate roots to penetrate once they dry out. They can also be completely sterile, meaning they lack the beneficial microbes found in compost that help a plant's immune system. Even worse, I've had experiences where store-bought bags came infested with the eggs of fungus gnats, which are a huge nuisance for indoor seed starting. By creating your own mix, you have complete control over the quality and texture. You know exactly what's in it. You're providing a living, breathing soil environment that more closely mimics what the plant would experience in a healthy garden bed. It's a small extra step that pays huge dividends in seedling health and vigour. Before you even think about filling your cups, we need to pre-moisten the soil mix. This is another non-negotiable step. If you fill your cups with dry soil and then try to water from the top, it's a recipe for disaster. Water will channel right through the dry mix, leaving stubborn dry pockets where a seed might be trying to germinate. It can also cause the soil to float up and dislodge your carefully planted seeds. Instead, dump your soil mix into a large bowl or a bucket. Slowly add warm water and mix it all together with your hands. You're aiming for the consistency of a damp, wrung-out sponge. When you grab a handful and squeeze it, it should hold its shape, but only a drop or two of water should come out. If it's dripping wet, you've added too much water. If it crumbles apart instantly, it's too dry. Getting this right ensures that the entire soil volume is evenly hydrated, providing the perfect environment for germination. Now that our soil is perfectly moistened, it's time to fill the cups. And no, don't just jam it in there. The goal is to fill the cup without compacting the soil. Use a scoop or your hands to loosely transfer the soil into each cup. As you go, gently tap the cup on your workbench a few times. This will help the soil settle naturally and eliminate any large air pockets without squishing it down. You want to leave about an inch of space from the top of the soil to the rim of the cup. This headspace is crucial. It creates a reservoir that makes watering so much easier later on, preventing water and soil from spilling over the sides. Remember, we want a light, airy medium for our roots to explore. Compacting the soil makes it difficult for roots to penetrate and reduces the oxygen they need to survive. So be gentle, tap it down, and leave that all-important space at the top. With our cups prepped, it's time for the fun part. Selecting the seeds. This method works beautifully for any type of tomato, whether it's a large indeterminate variety that will vine all summer or a compact determinate variety perfect for a patio pot. The key is to start with high-quality seeds from a reputable source. Check the date on your seed packet. While tomato seeds can remain viable for several years, you'll always get the best germination rates from fresh seeds. If you're using older seeds, you might want to plant 3 seeds per cup instead of 2, just to increase your odds. Take a moment to read the packet and understand the variety you're growing. Knowing its growth habit and days to maturity will help you plan your garden space and your planting timeline. Choosing a variety that is well suited to your climate is the first step toward a successful harvest. Here's a little trick I call the 2-seed insurance policy. Even with the freshest seeds, you'll occasionally get a dud that just doesn't want to sprout. To avoid the frustration of having a cup with no seedling, I always plant 2 seeds in each cup. Place them on the surface of the soil, about an inch apart from each other. Why 2? It virtually guarantees that you will get at least 1 healthy seedling in every single cup. It's a simple way to maximize your space and your time. If both seeds germinate, that's great. We'll have a choice of the strongest one. Some people might be tempted to plant 5 or 6 seeds in one pot, but that's a mistake. It leads to overcrowding, and the seedlings will compete fiercely for light and resources, resulting in weaker plants overall. 2 is the magic number. It provides security without creating unnecessary competition. Now let's talk about planting depth. This is where the Goldilocks rule applies. Not too deep and not too shallow. The general rule of thumb for most seeds is to plant them at a depth that is about twice their diameter. For a tiny tomato seed, this means we're only talking about 1/4 of an inch deep. That's not very much at all. You can gently poke the seed down with the tip of a pencil or your fingertip. If you plant the seed too deep, the seedling will exhaust all of its stored energy just trying to reach the surface, and it may never break through the soil. If you plant it too shallow, it might not have a proper anchor, and the seed can dry out or get washed away during watering. 1/4 of an inch is the sweet spot. It's just enough to keep the seed secure and moist, while being shallow enough for an easy journey to the light. Once your seeds are nestled in at the perfect depth, it's time to gently tuck them in. You'll cover them with a final, light layer of your soil mix. Again, we're only aiming for about 1/4 inch of soil on top. Don't dump a heavy load of soil over them, just a light, fluffy blanket. After sifting a little soil over the seeds, I like to add a very thin top layer of fine vermiculite. This is an optional step, but one I highly recommend. Vermiculite is a sterile, lightweight mineral that helps to retain moisture on the surface and can also help prevent a common seedling disease called damping off. It acts like a protective mulch, keeping the area around the emerging stem from staying too wet. Gently pat everything down with your fingers to ensure good seed-to-soil contact. This contact is vital for the seed to be able to absorb the moisture it needs to kickstart the germination process. With our seeds planted and covered, it's time for their very first drink of water, and how we do this is critical. Do not use a heavy stream watering can. That will blast the soil, dislodge your seeds, and create a compacted mess. The best tool for this job is a simple spray bottle set to a fine mist. Gently mist the surface of the soil until it is visibly moist and darkened. Because we pre-moistened our soil mix, we don't need to add a lot of water here. We're just rehydrating that very top layer and settling everything into place. The goal from now until germination is to keep that top surface consistently moist, like a damp brownie. Never let it completely dry out, but also never let it become a puddle. A quick check and a gentle mist once a day is usually all that's needed to maintain that perfect moisture level. To get our seeds to sprout, we need to provide two things: consistent warmth and high humidity. The easiest way to create a humid environment is to build a mini greenhouse for our cups. You don't need anything fancy. My favourite method is to place all of the cups together in a standard seed starting tray, or even just a simple baking tray. Then I cover the entire tray with a clear plastic humidity dome. If you don't have a dome, clear plastic wrap stretched tightly over the tops of the cups works just as well. Just be sure to poke a few small air holes in it. This dome traps moisture and warmth, creating a perfectly humid microclimate that softens the seed coat and signals to the seed that it's time to wake up and grow. This high humidity is the secret ingredient for fast and even germination across all of your cups. Alongside humidity, warmth is the other key ingredient for germination. Tomato seeds sprout best when the soil temperature is consistently warm, ideally between 75 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Your average room temperature might be a little too cool for the fastest results. So, you need to find a warm spot in your house. A classic trick is to place your seed tray on top of your refrigerator, where the gentle heat from the compressor can provide that extra warmth. However, the most reliable and effective tool for this job is a seedling heat mat. This is a waterproof mat that you place directly under your seed tray. It provides gentle, consistent bottom heat, keeping the soil at the perfect temperature 24/7. Using a heat mat can shave several days off your germination time and dramatically increase your success rate. It's one of the best investments a home gardener can make. Here's a piece of information that surprises many new gardeners. At this stage, your seeds do not need any light to germinate. In fact, they sprout perfectly well in complete darkness. All a seed needs to get started is moisture, oxygen, and warmth. The need for light only kicks in the very moment that the first little green sprout breaks through the surface of the soil. Until you see that green, you can keep your tray in a warm, dark closet or cover it with a towel. This is a common point of confusion. People will put their freshly planted seeds under powerful grow lights, which really doesn't do anything other than dry out the soil faster and waste electricity. So, save the light for later. For now, just focus 100% on maintaining that perfect combination of warmth and humidity. The light will have its starring role very soon. The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. You peek under the dome and see the first tiny green loops breaking through the soil. This is a critical moment, and what you do next is extremely time-sensitive. As soon as you see germination, it is time to immediately remove the humidity dome and get those seedlings under a light source. If you leave the dome on, the high humidity and lack of air circulation can promote fungal diseases like damping off. If you leave them in the dark for even a day after they sprout, they will stretch desperately for light, becoming weak and leggy almost overnight. So, be vigilant. Check your trays at least once or twice a day. The second you see life, the dome comes off and the lights go on. This quick transition is key to growing short, stocky and powerful seedlings from the very beginning. Now it's time for light to take centre stage, and unfortunately, for most of us, a sunny windowsill just isn't going to cut it. It rarely provides the intense direct light needed, causing seedlings to stretch and become leggy. For strong, compact growth, you really need a dedicated grow light. Simple fluorescent shop lights work great, and modern LED grow lights are even better and more energy efficient. Whatever light you choose, the key is proximity. You need to position the light so it's only 2 to 3 inches above the tops of your seedlings. That's right, super close. This close distance provides the intensity they crave. You'll need to run these lights on a timer for about 16 to 18 hours per day. This long day length mimics the ideal growing conditions of early summer and fuels the rapid, healthy growth of your new tomato plants. Remember our 2-seed insurance policy? Well, if you did everything right, you now likely have 2 healthy seedlings sprouting in most of your cups. Now comes the hardest but most necessary decision a gardener has to make: thinning. You must choose the stronger, healthier-looking seedling and eliminate the other one. I know it feels brutal, but it's for the greater good. If you let both grow, they will compete for resources, and you'll end up with 2 mediocre plants instead of 1 fantastic one. And here's the crucial technique. Do not pull the weaker seedling out. This will disturb the delicate roots of the seedling you want to keep. Instead, take a small pair of scissors and simply snip the stem of the unwanted seedling right at the soil line. It's a quick, painless sacrifice that ensures the chosen one has all the space, water and nutrients it needs to develop a truly massive root system. Once your seedlings are up and growing under the lights, your watering strategy needs to change. Misting the top is no longer the best approach, as it can encourage fungal issues around the stem. This is where that 1-inch headspace we left in the cup comes in handy, and where our drainage holes become superstars. The absolute best way to water now is called bottom watering. Place your cups in a tray or a basin, and pour 1 inch or 2 of water directly into the tray, not into the cups. The dry soil will act like a sponge, wicking the water up through the drainage holes. Let the cups sit in the water for about 15 to 30 minutes, or until you can see that the surface of the soil is moist. Then remove the cups from the tray and let any excess water drain away. This technique encourages the roots to grow downwards in search of water, creating a deeper, more robust root system. Inside our homes, the air is very still. In the great outdoors, however, plants are constantly being nudged by the wind. This gentle movement is actually a signal to the plant to grow a thicker, stronger stem to withstand the pressure. We can and should mimic this indoors. Once your seedlings are about 1 inch or 2 tall, it's a great idea to introduce a gentle breeze. You can do this by running a small, oscillating fan on its lowest setting, pointed at your seedlings for a few hours each day. You just want to see their leaves gently fluttering, not getting blasted in a wind tunnel. This simple act of air movement will make a huge difference in the sturdiness of your plants. It prevents them from becoming weak and floppy and prepares them for the eventual transition to the outdoor garden. It's like a tiny gym workout for your tomato stems. For the first week or so after germination, the seedling gets all the energy it needs from the seed itself. But once it develops its first set of true leaves, those are the second set of leaves that look like actual, jagged tomato leaves. It's time for its first meal. That compost in our soil mix provides some gentle, slow-release nutrients, but now we can start supplementing with a liquid fertilizer. It is incredibly important to use a diluted fertilizer at this stage. A full-strength dose will burn the delicate roots. I recommend using a balanced liquid fertilizer, like a fish emulsion or a seaweed fertilizer, mixed at 1/4 of the recommended strength. You can apply this weak fertilizer solution about once a week when you are bottom watering. This gentle feeding provides all the building blocks the plant needs to continue its explosive root and foliage growth, setting it up for a fantastic future in the garden. So there you have it. It's a complete roadmap from a dry seed to a robust, thriving seedling. We've seen that by making a few simple choices, starting in a larger cup to give roots room, creating a perfect living soil mix, and providing ideal conditions, we can completely bypass the stressful process of transplanting. You no longer have to worry about weak, leggy seedlings or the dreaded transplant shock that sets your plants back for weeks. What you're left with is a young tomato plant with an incredibly powerful, dense, and undisturbed root system. This is the ultimate foundation. A plant with roots this good is primed to take off the second you plant it in the garden, leading to faster growth, better resilience against drought and disease, and ultimately a much bigger and tastier harvest. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this method helpful and are excited to try it, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more in-depth gardening secrets. It truly helps the channel grow. And now, I want to hear from you. What has been your biggest challenge or frustration when starting tomato seeds in the past? Let me know in the comments below. Let's share our experiences and help each other grow the best tomatoes ever.